Some of you might remember not too long ago, I think it was at the end of December. I had done an offline video called Perpetually Homesick. Did any of you see that video? I'm sure some of you did. In the video, I talked about how I feel like I'm perpetually homesick and I don't really know how to solve that. And I kind of dove into the idea of, well, maybe it's caused by this and maybe it's caused by that. And I do think there's some validity to my theories, but what I'll tell you is that video was very similar to a video series that I used to do years ago called Lens Therapy. And I've talked about this very briefly before, but Lens Therapy was really just a way for me to get stuff out, to help me process things and try to understand things. Because what I've learned as I've gotten older is that I think I'm either identifying or acknowledging or even accepting the idea that I think my brain kind of works differently than most people. Okay? I don't really know how that is per se, but I just feel like it's different. And without getting into the details of that, just it is what it is. Anyway, I use the camera sometimes to process things, whether it's emotions or it's, I'm trying to put the pieces together on how I feel about something, some topic versus what everybody around me says or what the TV says, the radio says, and so on. Well, Lens Therapy did a lot for me because I was able to process through some things that without the camera, I didn't seem able to do. So I made this video about being perpetually homesick. And when I put the video out, a lot of people, some of you included, had a lot to say. And you kind of gave your own theories. And some of you talked about how much it kind of reflects your journey and what you've gone through or where you're going now. And I thought that was really great because reading through all of the comments, I was able to kind of pick up some patterns on what I think I'm experiencing that might be kind of common in general, but also what might be common for our age group for some of you. Super, super helpful, okay? And here's what I think I've kind of discovered. So when the year flipped over and January 1st hit, we talk about New Year's resolutions and all that stuff, and we've kind of been through that for a few years now. It's nothing new. My resolution this time was less of a resolution of I want to do this and more of a restructure, because I really felt like I needed to kind of step back from my own life and kind of say, okay, this is out of place, this is out of place, this is out of place. Where the hell am I going? Yeah, I'm doing fine on the day-to-day, but in the long run, I'm kind of crushing myself. And we know how that's going to go. You've kind of seen me go through this before. Now, if you kind of put a pin in that thought and you go back to the live stream where I told you the story about the restaurant that I had in my barracks room. Now, the guy that I was a roommate with, his name was Costro, and I got permission to tell the story and use his name because I use his name Costro with a K as a verb in my house. And what it means to Costro something or to be in Costro mode means that you're taking charge, you're making things happen, you're not waiting for somebody else to save the day. You're not letting life happen to you. But you remember I went through all that and I say, I need to get back into that Costro mode. And when January 1st hit, that's exactly what I did. Put on my boots. I went big boy undies and I went into Costro mode. Now, for the first 2 weeks, I was 100% pretending. 100%. It was like imposter mode. I was pretending to be a guy that had his shit together. That is basically what it was. But then I got into a groove. And then it just became the way. And I don't know at what point that happened, but essentially here's what I did. It's very simple. I've talked to you numerous times about how I struggle with my weight and I struggle with taking care of myself and the way my brain works, I get sidetracked, I get diverted, and that's just kind of who I am. It's part of my own brand. But with me, like, whatever you want to be or weigh or look like, that means nothing. Like, I don't care. As long as you're happy, I don't care. I don't look sideways really at anybody. Unless it's like somebody got them legs and I'm like, hello, that's a different sideways. See, I'm getting sidetracked already. But for me, what I have discovered as an adult is that as my weight fluctuates and it begins to increase on the scale, I feel less and less like myself. I don't know if that will make sense to you. Some of you might not be able to relate, but that's how I feel, right? So yes, I get a little depressed and I feel bad and I get embarrassed and I don't want to be in public. It's a whole big thing, right? But it really does equate to the fact that I don't feel like me. So the first and only thing that I did differently when January 1st hit was I started intermittent fasting. 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating. That's it. Now, if it's fasting, I'm drinking water or I'm drinking black coffee. That's it. If I'm eating, then I'm just eating like a normal human, not like a complete space butthole. And then on Saturdays, I would say, okay, gloves are off. Anything that I have been thinking about this week food-wise, that'll be what I go for, whether it's pizza, a burger, cookies, whatever. But as soon as bedtime comes around on Saturday night, anything that's left goes in la basura. Garbage. Gone. So that stops me from spending $100 on junk that I'm not going to eat because I don't want to waste the money. I don't waste the food and then, whatever. So that started to work. In January, by just doing this, and aside from like a couple little walks or jogs, maybe like 4 total, I dropped some weight. I dropped a good amount of weight. I was very happy with. And then I changed it up just a little bit in February. And the only difference was I went dirty fasting, which is the same exact thing. But when I drink my coffee, I got to have my creamer. My French vanilla creamer makes rainbows come out of my butt. Oh, it's such a wonderful feeling to start the day, driving to the office with that French vanilla coffee sitting in my cup holder and looking up at me. And I'm like, you stop it. No, you stop. I missed you. I missed you too, bro. Oh, every day. And I was a little worried of how that was going to affect things when I stepped back on the scale at the end of February. But it worked out, and I've managed to hit like 4 goals in the last 2 months. All that to say to you that as that has happened, and I have seen the number drop, but not just the number, but how I feel physically, I actually feel more like myself. It's the strangest thing, and I don't know why that is. Again, I don't put these kinds of thoughts on anybody else. I don't. This is just me. It's how I feel with myself in my own skin. And it's really, really made quite a difference. So another reason I share this with you is, one, because I want to say thank you to those of you that contributed to the comment section of the video, because it really kind of helped me piece together the fact that while, yes, I might be kind of homesick sometimes for younger days and, a stronger body or whatever, I think the reality is that I wasn't homesick for a time or a place most of the time. I was homesick for me. I was homesick. I missed what it felt like to be me. So thank you for kind of helping me figure that out. Yeah, like Mona says, sometimes home is you. And that's really how I have felt. It's been quite a revelation.